Welcome to In the Cool of the Day, in this special segment of Rooted to Rise. I'm your host, Deacon Dexter Stanton, who is missing his better half, Apostle Renee G. Hood-Stanton, who sends her regards. But I have two special guests here today to talk about reentry and prevention. I am honored to present Horace Ellis, co-chair of Prince George County Reentry Roundtable, and Lamont Carey, president of Carey Enterprise, LLC. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. Can we talk a little more about your organizations? Either one first?
So my organization, Carey Enterprises, we do a lot of art-based stuff. I've directed plays so like the John F. Kennedy Center, did casting for shows like the HBO The Wire, and we teach, well, one of our goals is to help artists align themselves with their goals in life as artists and to make money off of their art. And we also do programming for at-risk populations to teach them new skills that they can monetize, and we teach entrepreneurship.
The Prince George County Reentry Roundtable, we focus on trying to keep people out of jail in the prevention sense. But also, we know that a lot of people coming home get caught up into situations where they have no housing or no jobs. So what we work with our community partners to try and help them get these services so they don't go back and do things that are not good for the community. So we have expungement events, and then we go into the community and we speak at civic associations, because Maryland is moving in a different direction, whereas they're allowing ex-offenders to vote. So we want to let them know that they are part of the community and they need to do things in accordance with what the rules and regulations of the community are.
Mm-hmm. But you know, one of the things I'm on the executive committee of that roundtable, I think. Mm-hmm. But there's some of the just recently they had a something on the Capitol, at the Capitol. What was that about?
In Washington, D.C.?
No, not the Capitol, but
Annapolis.
Annapolis, yes.
Annapolis. Okay. That was more of what we have every year, not us, but in the many partners that deal with reentry and the rights of ex-offenders.
Okay, they work on
whether from Baltimore, legislative action day. So we meet down there and we show support for all the particular bills or proposals that are on board to help ex-offenders get acclimated back into society.
And more specifically, the last one was on expungement. Ex-offenders having rights to like food stamps, because, well, specifically those that have been charged with drug offenses don't have access to public assistance when they first come home, which is needed because you return it home into a household where you changes the stability of the house, and the other goal is to women that are in prison and those that are coming home. So one of their focus is trying to build a women's center, reentry center, specifically for women who coming home from incarceration. So that's what was happening in Annapolis.
Oh, cool. Mr. Ellis, some of the goals of the roundtable, what are some of the key success that you've noticed that as a co-chair?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank all of our different partners, our many partners throughout the state of Maryland, and particularly in PG County, for helping us to help individuals better their lives. And secondly, one of the key success that we have and we see is the expungement events that you mentioned. Is for one thing, a lot of people have charges, and those charges prevent them from getting jobs. And there are many crimes that, would you say, offenses that can be expunged because they are of such minor sort, but there are a lot of people that are still walking around with them and they don't know or the process, and in some cases don't have the funds to help get these expunged. So what we do is we get together and we put the lawyers who are going to help these individuals prepare the forms together, and then we have the providers also that, for instance, if you need housing or clothing or whatever services that you need, we get together with Retemper, one of our partners, and we put on an expungement event. We just had one last Saturday, on the 28th.
28th.
It was very successful. Over 315 attendees
Awesome.
came through there.
Awesome.
So that's just one particular aspect. But again, as I've said, that we go into the communities. We want the community to know that these individuals are not necessarily bad people, but circumstances may lead them into doing particular things, and that if we can assist or have the community assist us, then providing housing and providing some of the things that they need will help the community itself grow. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Amen.
Right.
Okay.
No, I was going to say one of our focus
That's what
is on the mental, because you can provide an individual with housing and employment, but if they haven't mentally removed their mind from criminal activity or incarceration, those can still remain barriers. And so programs that I create, one in particular is called Passport to a New Life, where we were in an institution working with juveniles as charged as adults. So our focus is breaking those street codes and those prison codes that keeps them recidivating back in and out of the penal system, and making sure that they have a skill and understanding the value that they do have, and some of the skill sets that they may have learned from their past that are transferable into a more profitable and legit living.
Oh, okay, Mr. Carey, you as a successful entrepreneur, your thoughts of successful reentry for returning both women and men. How does that differ? Does it make a difference where you come from?
Whether you're a man or a woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times women have the main caretaker of children, and so when they enter the prison system, their children are either sent off into the system, foster care, or what have you, or with a relative. And so when they return home, rebuilding those bonds, helping the mother get to a situation where she can find housing for those kids, where she can have a stable job, and rebuilding that relationship. And I know it should feel like it's the same for the men as well, but men aren't always have been as active as the woman has been in the child's life. And so the assistance that we try to offer varies in that way. Men, our focus, change of behavior, jobs, substance abuse training, and trades that we can try to help them get into. And women, it's about reconnecting them with their children, as well as those other services that we try to direct men towards. And entrepreneurship is key. I mean, one of the keys when you have barriers like expungements, or when you haven't implemented ban the box, where you have to check off if you have a criminal record. And so for individuals such as myself that is a former offender, I ran into those barriers, but I was able to do entrepreneurship, an entertainment company, and that helped me avoid some of those no's that so many individuals released from prison face upon coming home.
Okay, and well, thank you. How do you see, I like this for both of you guys, how do you see the need and problems that your organizations work with? How do you see that collaboration? How can we work together to help people that we serve?
I'll take that one. As previously mentioned, one of the concerns is housing. At the expungement event, we had a survey for when people exited, and they could put, it's a needs assessment. And one of the things on there was temporary housing or permanent housing. And you'd be surprised at the vast amount of people who needed some type of housing assistance. So going forward, we need to address these particular aspects, particularly with housing. But also, Mr. Carey mentioned something about the mind of the individual education. Now, that's also very important. So we need to, obviously, people, it's not the same people that's coming home that's always going back to jail, but so there has to be new recruits. So we were trying to prevent those new recruits from having done a crime in the first place.
Right.
Yes.
So it's very important that we cut off that particular aspect of the prison pipeline, the new recruits, and that comes from a perspective of the mental.
Right. And if I could just add, with partnerships, reentry starts the day you arrested. And we just have to get the criminal system, the penal system to understand that. And so not only do we partner in the community, but we need to be inside the institutions preparing individuals to transition back into the community. Because a lot of times individuals say they don't have access to mind-altering programs. Like for me, one of the things I think that's needed in the institution is that it be mandatory that individuals have to get a minimum of a GED, because most jobs that when you come out here require a minimum of a GED. So it should be no way possible that a person leaves prison without having a minimum of a GED or an ID. They shouldn't have to come out here to struggle to get their IDs. I mean, first social security card and birth certificate in order to get an ID. They should be able to come home with those things.
Yes, that's important. That is so important. Well, we have another. We're getting short to the break, but we have one more question. So, Mr. Ellis, what can we do as a group? What do you think? There's anything that we could possibly promote?
But I think we've been doing very good so far. There are many other stakeholders that's been coming on board, and there's some that need to go on board. And I'll mention one in particular when it regards this particular topic in education. We know that if an individual's in school and he does not get a certain level of education, 9 times out of 10, there's only going to be a certain degree of jobs that's open up onto them. So that's going to limit their income. So we need to stress in the schools education, but for some reason or another, there's a certain mindset in the schools of that they think that prison is some type of a badge of honor. And we can't get around that until we start letting individuals that are who have been there, done that, back into the schools
Success stories.
to educate these kids that this is not the route to go. So it's a change of mindset to cut off those new recruits that's going into the prison system. So we need the school system, we need the church to help us figure out how we house these individuals when they come home from the reentry, and we also need the legislative segment of it to help us get the laws in place so individuals can get jobs, because at the end of the day, what we're looking for is a better community that serves everyone.
Well, it's time for a station break. We will be right back, and we'll continue our conversation with Mr. Horace Ellis and Mr. Lamont Carey.
Thank you for watching our broadcast. Rooted to Rise is an extension of Rooted Jesse Ministry, which has been around for 30 years, and we're making a big difference. We are always looking for those that have a mind to work, rooted in love, and wanting to fulfill the Great Commission.
If you're like one of those who would like to help build the kingdom, contact us, whether it's in prisons, nursing homes, the community, and or abroad.
We would also like to invite you to our Bible study. Let's grow together in the riches of His glory in Christ Jesus. God has a blessing for you. From our hearts to yours. You may contact us at 240-353-3196 or reach us by our website, rootofjesse.org. Thanks again. God bless.
Prior to the break, we were sharing with you our understanding of reentry and some of our projects and visions for 2017 and how you can help. During the second half, we would like to focus on prevention and community engagement. With that, gentlemen, how do your organizations work with jails, prisons, youth organizations, and churches?
Well, I've worked with all of the above. A problem that I have ran into, because I'm a former offender, I had a program in a jail for 6 months called Passport to a New Life, where that was going wonderfully. We we came in and we interrupted a gang feud and got them living together. So we was contracted to come back in, and unfortunately, me and Mr. Ellis, because of our criminal record, couldn't get back in. So only my other facilitators were able to go in and facilitate the program, which I think is a disservice to the men and women who are incarcerated, because we are what society hopes that the path that they take. We individuals that have done time, came home, changed our lives, and now are successful in giving back and working within the community. And in schools, the same situation. I speak in schools around the country, but I was presented an opportunity to come in as a contractor and work with at-risk students that were getting in a lot of trouble. And then it came down to the background check, and I was denied to be able to work in those schools. One, I can't even go on a field trip with my son because of my criminal record. So what I learned is that I can come into school as a speaker, but as a contractor, which is they consider the same as an employee, I'm not allowed in. And so those are barriers of opportunity for individuals like myself and Horace to come in and say, look, if you do this, this, and this, this is going to produce death. This is going to produce incarceration. And so I work with those organizations, but a lot of times there is some pushback because of my criminal background. And I've been home 15 years.
And just to add, and these are just some of the things that we're trying to change, or trying to get the community to look from it from a different perspective. I'll give you a scenario with that. If a poisonous snake bites you, then what you would need to do is to get the antivenom from the snake and then shoot yourself with it, basically to cure you. Well, crime is a similar situation on society. So basically, we have bitten society, but we have the cure for what's going on here, because for the most part, these kids, they listen to us because we have actually walked the walk where they're looking to go walk. But we don't want to come in there and tell them to make the wrong move, and they're not going to listen to anybody else because they have a particular mentality with them. So these are just some of the laws that's in place that prevents the system from getting cured. It prevents the system from healing itself, or a community from healing itself. And these are some of the things we are trying to change. And that's why we go to schools, we go to the prisons, we go to the churches, we go to the civic associations, because we need to change some of these laws that allows ex-offenders like ourselves that are coming home doing the right thing to go back into the society and help those who are heading in the wrong direction.
And what's even weird about it is that we both work internationally in other countries doing this work where they embracing us. We've been to work with politicians around this country, been to the White House, but I can't go on a school trip with my son. Like, how much change are you looking for in individuals? There should be a deadline where you say, okay, he's been granted parole or he's completed his time, so he has paid the penalty that society has said that he must pay. And then my record should be wiped clean, and I should be able to, again, rejoin society in all matters, not me just having to figure out ways to participate in society. And so one quick thing I'm gonna say is that we use all forms of communication because people learn different. Yeah. So I write books for youth. Like, I just put out a book called Dead Before 18, Saving Our Boys from the Streets. And it's basically what Horace was just saying about telling them, teaching them how, if you interaction with the police, how to avoid it being a negative outcome, teaching them about how you know you're being recruited to be in a gang or to become a drug dealer, how when a woman or a girl says no, that it means no. So I have to find other avenues to communicate to individuals because of all of this pushback, because of even our own criminal records. So I just say we work with the community the best way that we can. We are open to come to any community in anywhere in the world, right?
Whatsoever.
We come into jail, we'll come into prison, maximum security. We want to work with the worst of the worst because we understand them, because we were once them, and we can help them change their perspective on life. And in the prisons, the main thing that is needed is an extension of hope. because so many of them give up hope. And then I'm gonna shut up. With the expungement, we need an expansion on the expungement because we don't even qualify. Well, I don't qualify. I'm a violent former offender, and this is for non-violent offenders. And one of the things that I learned is that violent offenders are more or less likely to return to prison or commit a crime than a non-violent offender, but we have no access to even the law, the changes that the laws present, like expungement. I can never get my record expunged.
You know, when you said that, because it just reminded me, you guys keep saying that you're ex-felons, and you know, I'm doing my own penance. I'm looking for a pardon now in Maryland,
Right.
In Minnesota rather. Yeah, it's hard because I went to school for chemical dependency counseling, but yet and still, because of Minnesota State Statute 225, whatever, 425, I can't work as a chemical dependency counselor because of vulnerable adults. And I think that's what's similar to what you guys are talking about. They don't want people working with vulnerable adults. And I do have an assault charge on me, even though it was my friend, but, you know, but.
If I make real quick,
Go ahead.
one of the things, if I can add, the thing that society is missing the most, one, they see us from our mug shot. They don't see us as three successful men who have had a past but have changed. And as long as society only see us from our mug shot and not see us how we are today, there are always going to be barriers. And so we have so many individuals who have successfully transitioned from prison, but they scared of retaliation, so they don't speak out to say, I have a criminal past as well. And so until I think we have more exposure to those who have changed, discrimination is going to continue.
Okay. Well, you both had success stories and how prevention plays in your success. Community engagement. How do we do that, Mr. Ellis?
Well, I think mostly for community engagement, if you go into any community, someone there is going to know a child, whether it be a cousin, a niece, a nephew, or whatever, that's heading in the right direction. So, and also in the community, these people vote. So we want to reach out to the communities to let them know that an individual that's born, their parent don't say to them, hey, my child is going to be the best criminal there is. Or even an individual that's coming home that's already committed a crime and coming home, he don't come home and say, I'm going to do everything I can to do another crime. Because he know if he goes back, the rest of the population looks down on him. So we need to be able to be in the community and addressing these particular issues, that nobody is fixated on being a criminal all their lives.
Right.
So, and we can, if the community can work with us, then we can change some of the laws because it's structural. Some of those laws are structured, are in place to keep particular segment of the population in line. So we need to change some of those laws, like the one about the schools. You can't go back into the schools. And just recently, Maryland has allowed, ex-offenders to vote. So these are just some of the laws that's changing. But the community, if they know the fact that they are their best police, that the community is their best police officer, because the regular police officer only comes after something happened. So what we're trying to do is prevent it from happening. Because that serves the community and it also serves the individual, because the individual is now staying in the community being a productive citizen.
Well, we're going to take this moment. We have a short, do you have something for us there?
Yeah, I can give you a piece of something, brother.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So this is a spoken word piece I have. It's called The Streets Keep Calling Me. See, today is my first day back on the streets. And I got a secret to tell, because this was a rude awakening for me. See all them nights that I sat up on that bunk and dreamed about this day? Now reality and hope just don't look the same. So instantly I'm drained. See, this is the first time in my life that I've ever felt the shame. See, I have to go live back at my mother's house, and including her, everybody in there, they want me out. See, they say I'm just another mouth to feed, and there isn't no place in there for me to sleep. And then the streets start to whisper to me, Lamont, come back. You ain't gotta live like that. The streets ain't change you. Still know this game. See, the streets keep calling me by my first name. See, I'm gonna stop there because to hear the rest of that, they're gonna have to go to my website. They're gonna have to go online or something. But this is how I communicate. This is how I get the messages about the struggles of reentry, the struggles that our communities face. And when you talked about community engagement, I think one of the biggest barriers is that a lot of time organizations don't realize what the community needs are. You first have to understand what the community say their needs are. And then you can come in that way and then start proposing other ways that you can help this community, because unless we are in tune to what the community believes they need, their ears going to remain shut to us. And so I think true community engagement is understanding the community that you're trying to work in first.
I understand, this is a mass communication world and mass transportation world, but I grew up in a community that almost everybody there knew me. That if I did something on the street, before the day was over, my mother would knew about it, and anybody could have beat me on the street. So that was a way of keeping all the kids in check, because kids gonna think and they're gonna do things based upon their think because they don't know no better.
Impulsive.
Exactly. We have to stop being such a fractured society. We have to be our own brother's keeper, basically, and sisters, of course.
Well, we're about out of time. I want to thank my guests for their insight and our views, and our viewing audience. I want to thank you in the cool of the day, and this is the segment of Rooted to Rise. I pray that you are encouraged and that our words can be used to empower you, your vision, and our world. From Apostle Renee G. Hood-Stanton and myself, Deacon Stanton, Deacon D. God loves you, and God bless you, and God has a blessing with your name on it.